Actions were held in 15 cities across the United States on Tuesday, January 24th, targeting Wells Fargo and FMR Fidelity branches. Protesters were denouncing the bank's investments in private for-profit prison and immigration detention companies like the Geo Group. In Washington, D.C., demonstrators rallied and leafleted near a Wells Fargo branch, with organizers like Kwasi Setu calling for a boycott of the bank until it divests its money in for-profit prisons.
The purpose of the boycott is to educate and mobilize people in the community and around the city and around the country, actually, bring their awareness as to the issue of profits through private prisons, private incarceration, slavery. Even though we're focused on Wells Fargo is only one bank that's doing it. We understand that. It's only one corporation that does it. And we have to deal with, like here in D.C., the city council does a lot of business with Wells Fargo. That means our tax dollars are going to support this institution. We need to change that. We need to make our local politicians accountable. We need to hold this system accountable. It's totally unaccountable.
The political and financial connections between investment giants like Wells Fargo, elected officials, and the burgeoning private prison industry are pervasive. Daniel Carrillo is a field organizer with Enlace International, the group that has worked to coordinate Tuesday's actions as part of its national prison divestment campaign. He explains how Wall Street enables companies like the Corrections Corporation of America and the Geo Group to wield unprecedented political influence in introducing and pushing for targeted legislation that will boost profits by increasing incarceration rates.
Essentially, Wall Street enables these companies to be able to pass these anti-immigrant laws. Wall Street owns the majority of these the two biggest for-profit prison companies. Without Wall Street, these two prison companies wouldn't be able to lobby to the extent that they are right now. They wouldn't be able to make as much political contributions as they are right now. So Wall Street amplifies the economic power and political power of the for-profit prison companies. Most of these companies are participate in ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, that's made up of corporations and state politicians. And essentially, ALEC is a platform for these companies and politicians to write laws that benefit the companies and the politicians, because the politicians will have stock options or assets in those companies.
An NPR investigative report revealed that private prison companies participating in ALEC wrote the model legislation that became Arizona Anti-Immigration Law SB 1070, which was then introduced by longtime ALEC member State Senator Russell Pierce, who was later recalled in November 2011 elections. Numerous anti-immigration copycat bills introduced in states like Georgia and Alabama have also been attributed to ALEC and private prison industry participants, who stand to profit from the increased flow of immigration detainees, with roughly 50% housed in private facilities.
It's a very profitable business to put people in cages, averaging from $122 up to $200 a day per person. That's in one of their detention camps or federal or state prisons. And then it also helps to shift the blame of the economic collapse that the Wall Street caused onto immigrants. So, they ruin, Wall Street ruins the economy, and they find a way to scapegoat immigrants.
The private prison industry's reach extends beyond recent anti-immigration laws, first experiencing significant growth in the wake of the war on drugs and tough on crime laws that saw the widespread implementation of mandatory sentencing guidelines. Communities of color were disproportionately impacted by the policies, which also resulted in the mass incarceration of often non-violent offenders and led to the construction of more private facilities as state facilities were filled beyond capacity.
This prison industrial complex is targeting people of color, poor people, immigrants, and making tremendous profit and disenfranchising people by taking voting rights and so on.
Occupy DC's Criminal Injustice Committee member, Mike Stark, participated in Tuesday's action in Washington. He says the openness with which prison corporations like the Geo Group cater to investors on Wall Street is symptomatic of the drive for profits that underpins the prison industrial complex.
It's mind-baffling, like how how enthusiastic they are over their participation in Wall Street and the New York Stock Exchange, and as a vehicle for investment right now, that they think that jailing people, mass incarceration is good business, profitable business. And this is another example in which the 1% is going through to outrageous lengths to make money off the rest of us. And the rest of us in this case are the 2 million people behind bars in this country. The United States incarcerates more people per capita than any other country in the world, which is a startling number for a country that claims to be a leader in human rights.
Enlace's divestment campaign has already succeeded in getting 2 major investors to divest their holdings in major prison corporations. Broad coalitions of criminal, racial, and social justice advocacy groups continue to organize at local, state, and national levels to push for investors like Wells Fargo to pull their money out of profit-driven prisons. This is David Doherty with the Real News Network.
Wells Fargo, just face it, your investments are racist.